We are going over the latest Detroit Lions rumors for you folks today. A lot deal with the draft here. We got a mock draft. We're going to review that. But then there's 5 players in an article of potentially the Detroit Lions trading away. So we're going to get into that. And we're going to be talking about the Jared Goff extension. Rumors came out of what his annual salary could be. Let's get this thing started. Look, man, we're definitely going to get in today. A lot to talk about. And as we get closer to the NFL draft, finally we can kind of get an idea of how the draft is going to go, who the Lions going to select, because it's been crazy off season waiting for this. But before we get into that part, we're going to talk about Jared Goff right now. And it's being reported that Jared Goff could get around $45 to $50 million a year per Jeremy Fowler. He says, during the appearance on SportsCenter on Sunday, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported that Goff is expected to receive a contract extension worth $45 to $50 million annually. Fowler noted that while there is mutual interest between the two sides, the deal still needs to be ironed out. He wants to be there, only 29 years old, due to make around $28 million this year, so he's going to have to be in the threshold of $45, maybe even $50 million a year based on the way he's played. So it's going to take some time to get the deal done. I know a lot of people are cringing at that number, 45 to 50 million, but look what he done. Top 10 stats in nearly every statistical category, top 5 last year, and that's what they're getting paid. And if you look what Daniel Jones did with his extension, they gave this guy a lot of money, and he's a bad quarterback. So Jared Goff's going to get paid some money, $45 to $50 million annually. And it's a lot of money, but he probably deserves it. So I got a question for you. Would you extend Jared Goff on those numbers? Y for yes and for no. Let me know in the comments below. Let's continue on here. SideLion did an article about 5 players that could be traded from the Detroit Lions to other teams during the NFL draft. So we definitely have seen players get traded before. Last year, we traded Swift in the draft. So let's get into the options that they think the Detroit Lions could potentially do is trade away. First one being tight end James Mitchell. Says Mitchell's coming off a torn ACL when the Lions took him in the 5th round of the 2022 draft. So his rookie season became development mulligan. 11 catches, 14 games, 183 offensive snaps. Any buzz, his second-year breakout was put into bed when Sam Laporta was drafted. But it feels like Mitchell should have a lot of trouble taking some snaps from the number 2 tight end, Brock Wright. We've been waiting for Mitchell to break out, right? This will be his year 3. I think it's possible that he could be an option. I don't think it's probable. I don't think he gets traded because we are going into a situation right now where you want to have 3 good tight ends. Shane Zylstra was injured last year. Brock Wright, Laporta, James Mitchell. That's a pretty good 1, 2, 3. But right now, it's a solid group of tight ends. I don't think the Lions would want to really mess with that. And I don't think you'd get really anything for James Mitchell. What, a 7th-round pick? Is that worth it? Probably not. The 4th player on their list here is Levi Onwuzurike. By all accounts, Onwuzurike made it through last season healthy, not even showing up on a daily injured report. Memory serves. Also, hardly played 132 defensive snaps over 10 regular seasons games. He wasn't noticeable very often on the field. And look, I think he's a player. If another team would want to get Levi, that would be great. I think it's going to be really difficult to trade a Levi Onwuzurike because of his injury history. Injury history, lack of play on the field, that's good. It'd be difficult to trade. I have him as a cut candidate for this year. But if they could trade him away, hey, that'd be great. Get something from nothing out of them. Let's continue on here. Number 3. There's more buzz around Detroit replacing Taylor Decker's huge $19.1 million cap hit of anticipated considering his talent. If Detroit wants to offload Decker this summer, Kingsley Sumatra would be considered here. Samaria is much like Decker as a prospect. He gets the job done more often than not, relies on great tools to win. We've already heard this trade already. We've heard it. I do not believe the Detroit Lions trade Taylor Decker. I get it. We're seeing it in articles. But we went to the NFC Championship game in an offensive line that was really good. He's the left tackle, staple. It would really, I'm sure, frustrate the offensive line all around if you trade him away. Yeah, you get a younger prospect, but he's not going to be as good as Decker is as a veteran. And you're trying to make a great offensive line stay great. Why would you reduce that? Now, they could definitely draft the tackle this year, but trading Decker just seems like a bad option for them. It doesn't make a lot of sense if you ask me. So, question for you. Would you trade Taylor Decker? T for trade, HN for hell no. Let's go to the number 2 player, potentially on a trade candidate list here. Michael Badgley. This is for the second straight offseason. After being reassigned, Badgley is right to be replaced as the Lions kicker. Holmes promised an addition to competition. Ideally, said competition is a step above someone out of the XFL, John Parker Romo, and kicker ready, Riley Patterson, like we had last year. Patterson beat Badgley out preseason. Badgley came back in the practice squad and eventually took over the kicking job during last season. Yeah, it's definitely, to me, it looks like the Lions are trying to get better at kicker. Yeah, for sure. They want competition. This is well known. Brad Holmes even spoke about it. This is not a surprise at all. Trading Michael Badgley, who would really want him? Really? I don't see any takers, because if you need a kicker, why not just draft one or undrafted guy? Just like the Lions would like to do. So, I mean, he is a player that we could get rid of. I don't know if trade anyone's going to want to get a Michael Badgley. He doesn't have a gigantic kick. He's good from average, but there's nothing really special about him. So I would say it'd be quite difficult. Last player in their list, in the number 1 possibility they have, is Malcolm Rodriguez. Said Rodriguez looked like a 6th-round steal in 2022 draft, and as a rookie, he's proved 87 tackles, 8 tackles or loss over 16 15 stars. Here in a top 50 overall grade, 62.8 linebackers for Pro Football Focus. 41 grade as a run defender. When the Lions took Jack Campbell in the first round of the 2020 draft, Rodriguez looked to be tabbed with one of the biggest post-draft losers in the existing roster. That came to fruition as expected. And I said that last year, that after the draft, if there is a cut candidate, Malcolm Rodriguez could be that guy. And now it really is possible. Still, could they trade him? They could. I think there would be takers for sure. If they wanted to get rid of a player, he could have a little bit of value here. Not much, maybe 6th or 7th round, 5th round, but there is some value there. Michael Pittman's no longer this roster, so maybe they don't want to do something like that, but I do think that it's possible. Do I think they trade him? Look, player trades is really difficult to do, but it's possible. I don't think it happens, but it's the most possible outcome. Let's go ahead and get into this mock draft done by All Lions Turco here. And 7-rounder. First move that they made is going to be making a trade in this bad boy, and that's the Lions trading up from 29 to 15. And the Lions, they give up a 2nd-rounder and a 5th-rounder, and we get the 15th pick. So you're giving up a 2nd, you're giving up a 5, and you jump up to 15. It's honestly, that's a fair trade. It really is a fair trade. The amount that they give out, I think it's fair. So with that pick, though, they take a player who I love, Quinyon Mitchell. Mitchell is a fantastic corner. He's my favorite corner in this year's draft. He's a player who I'd love the Detroit Lions to jump up, and if they were to make a trade, he'd be the guy that I would do it. I agree. I think this is a fair trade. I think this is an option legitimately for the Detroit Lions. We've been hearing they have talked to the teams from 15 to 17. If the Lions were to jump up and make a trade, Quinyon Mitchell makes sense. He really does. And I would approve this trade. So question for you, would you trade up for Quinyon Mitchell? T for trade, P for pass. Blow up the comment section with your answers. Next player on the list there is in the 2nd round, wide receiver Roman Wilson. High-end speed, knack for playing bigger than his size. Michigan product profiles the chain moving slot receiver in the next level in 4 seasons, 46 career games. The Wolverines, Wilson accumulated 107 receptions, 1,707 yards and 20 touchdowns, 789 of those, and 12 of those touchdowns come in the final campaign. Lions need to get a wide receiver. That's well known. They could do it in the second round. I would look for maybe a bigger receiver, someone to be more of that X, but it's possible they go receiver, and he's an option. It is possible. I'd like them to go defense. That's my preferred. The next pick here, 73 in round 3, Marshawn Nealon. A lot of people like him, including myself. The local product here, grew up in Grand Rapids, was a standout run defender and relentless protected pass rusher during the 5 seasons of Western Michigan while with the Broncos. Nealon demonstrated the ability to line up multiple positions, including edge, downhill linebacker, and every down defender. Final college campaign in Kalamazoo, 6'3", 275-pounder, accumulated 57 tackles, 7.5 for loss, 4.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. I'd be fine with this selection in round 3. I like Nealon. I've seen many mock drafts where he was the selection round 3. Makes sense, and I approve it. Let's continue on here. They're going in to round 4, and that was due to another trade. So we're getting Roger Rosegart, the 6'5", 308-pounder, started each of the past 2 seasons at right tackle. Huskies allowed 0 sacks in both in 2022 and 2023. In his final season, Washington received an 80.8 pass blocking grade. The Lions absolutely could go tackle. No doubt about it. Offensive tackle is very possible. Right now in this draft, you got 2 defenders, you got 2 offensive players, tackle, Big being one of them, because we do need to have a backup tackle and a wide receiver who could start. Defense and offense is a little bit better. Round 5, he's going Christian Boyd, defensive tackle, Northern Iowa. Northern Iowa defensive tackle would be a great value pick here, and I agree. The East-West Shrine Bowl standout is one of the best small school prospects in the draft. He played at least 7 games across 5 different seasons with the Panthers, consistently thrived as pass rushing situations, and I would love that, to have a defensive tackle right there that can come in and be that pass rusher situation in the interior, be a good value. I would like the selection. You wouldn't have to start a lot of snaps. You can put him in situations. You're getting a player. You're getting value in round 5. I do like the selection here. Let's go to round 6 here. They're going Nehemiah Pritchett. We're getting the 6', 190-pound defensive back. Solid career at Auburn, too. Amazed, 150 tackles, 5.5 loss, 29 pass defenses, 3 interceptions, a sack in 51 games. With the Tigers, a developmental corner, no problem with that. Not going to argue. Let's go to the last pick here. It's going round 6, 205. Remember, there's a trade earlier. And we're going J.D. Burden, linebacker, cerebral, runner, stand out at 6'1", 235 pounds, would be a terrific understudy to Alex Anzalone. In no time, you get the grass and concept of Detroit defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn's scheme. Look, the Lions could do that. He could replace Anthony Pittman's role. Good to go from that perspective. Grade this mock draft, A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments below. With that said, folks, adios.